Hello, my friends. I'm so excited to see you today on this beautiful, bright, and shiny day. I hope wherever you are. For me, there is a ice rain, storm happening in my city. Every time I make a video, I feel like I say, yeah, I can't go outside. Can't go outside, probably for a week or so, a few weeks maybe. That's fine. So today is a perfect day to snuggle up, make a glass of tea, I almost said wine, had to force myself to say tea, and just talk about books. I'm in a very yappy mood today, so I want to just yap your ear off about a few books that I will take absolutely no criticism on. When I say that, I mean, if you leave a comment saying, well, the second I see a well, you're getting blocked. You're blocked, you're deleted, you're unfollowed. That's just what it is. And that's not, that's the rules. And I make the rules. I'm the president. First off, welcome to my channel. I am Livy. Welcome to Livy's Live. If you're new, it's so nice to meet you. I'm so happy that you're here. My name is Livy and I make bookish videos. And if you're not new, welcome back, my sexy friend. You will only be referred to as sexy friend if you're subscribed. So if you are not subscribed, that didn't apply to you. Just kidding, you're all sexy. So today I wanted to just talk about a few books that are some of my absolute favorites. I wanted to give a bit of in-depth reasons as to why you should read these books, but just so you know, my opinions are the best and the only ones. Actually, I have the only opinions that are right ever in the world. Now, we might be getting a little deep in this video because I'm just in a deep mood today. I'm at the locked in factory today. I'm locked in. I want to yap. I want to talk in depth about the themes in these stories and why I love them so much and why I think you should love them so much. If I get a little intense and emotional and I'm not being my goofy, silly self, that's my bad. The reason I'm such a silly, goofy person is because I'm constantly in a battle with melting deeper into the void that eats away at my head every second of the day. Just got a text from my mom. So if we get a little deep and I look like I might cry, know that I am about to cry. Probably will cry after this video. So anyways, if you have watched a few of my other videos, then you have probably heard me talk about this before. The first book on my list of books that I will take no criticism on is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I think where it began for me with this book kind of triggered my second coming of reading. Like, you know what I mean? This book is my son, as in Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. This because he's the second coming. I grew up reading. I took a break at university, couldn't get myself to read for shit because I was reading so many depressing articles all the time. COVID hit and I was like, I'm so bored that I would literally do anything except for stare out the window and yearn. Went to the bookstore and I picked up The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. The colors just seemed brighter. I don't know how else to describe it. If you don't know what this book is about, it is about a young woman named Addie LaRue who lives in the 1700s, I believe, and she's about to be forced into marriage. She runs away and basically makes a deal with a mysterious spirit in the woods, which grants her the wish of being able to do what she wants with her own life, essentially. That's not the exact wish, but it's something along those lines. Because he's such like a trickster god who she makes the deal with, the deal becomes she is immortal, but as soon as she exits the line of sight from people, they immediately forget who she is. So this story follows her throughout a span of 300 years, I believe. Now, if you go into reading this book on a surface level and just taking it for the story that it is still, in my opinion, a beautiful, beautiful story. But where I wanted to put it on this list comes from the fact that its metaphorical meaning to me is so much deeper than that. This book exposes the very human condition. It shows the fact that as many generations as she lives through, she continues to watch history repeat itself. And there is a sense of connection between all of the humans from every different time period that she has lived through, which I think is such a beautiful message in the sense that as much as time changes and as fast as times change and trends and the bullshit and the materialism and everything like that, at our core, we as humans all remain the same. We have an innate need to create art, to connect with others. And without those two things, we feel like a part of ourselves is not complete. With Addie, even though her curse of being forgotten rings true forever, she actually becomes somewhat of a conduit of art and beauty and creation across generations. And no matter how strong that curse is of her being forgotten, she still manages to appear in so many different works of art, whether that be writing, poems, or paintings people make of her, because she just has this lightness and this charisma, I guess you could call it, and beauty, inner and outer, about her that people want to capture forever. And the spirit is not able to stop that from happening. Even though he thought he was cursing her forever to be forgotten, he could not stop humans' innate need for maintaining that sense of beauty and connection that they feel once. I mean, it's why we write poetry in our notes app. It's why we write songs. It's why we write music. Why we paint. Why we sing. Why we dance. I could go on and I might start crying, but I just think that that message is so important and beautiful. I think we live in a world where we are so concentrated on what everyone is doing wrong and what differences we all have, when we should be concentrating on how similar all of us are. And at the end of the day, we just want to share love and we want to create. And I think if we focused more on that, the world would be a much more peaceful place. Sorry for getting a little soft on there, guys. And one last thing, I think it also touches on love and how the love that you have for different people, it will never be the same. You will never love two people the same way. There are so many relationships Addie has with different people and things in this story. And you know, you kind of sit there wondering if one of the relationships she has, was that real love, or was it, you know, a love of circumstance? Or was it a love due to obsession and need? Just read this book, please. If you're a deep thinking existential motherfucker like myself, I think you would love this. So, Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. V.E. Schwab is my favorite author. I love you, queen. It's really hot down here, and like, I don't really know what to do about that, because I'm cutting a bead. I'm cutting a bead of sweat from my glands. I don't know exactly what that means, but hey, gross. The next, well, actually this is a series. I wanted to include the whole series because I just don't think that this series gets the hype that it deserves. And I just want to give it the time and the attention that it deserves. So it is actually the Darker Shade of Magic series, also by V.E. Schwab. V.E. Schwab is one of those authors for me that it's an automatic purchase. Like, she dropped something, guess what? I had it 5 days ago. So this is a fantasy series about this world in which there are 4 different Londons. So there's Grey London, Red London, White London, and Black London. But Black London, like, no longer exists. Like, no one lives in Black London anymore. And it basically follows the story of Kel, who is our main character. Love him. He is basically the last person in this universe that can travel between all 4 Londons. He works for the royal family and basically works as a smuggler for them. He accidentally obtains, like, smuggles an artifact from Black London that he's not supposed to have. And it just sparks this whole series of events that is so good. He seeks refuge in Grey London, where he meets this girl named Delilah Bard, who is a thief. They become so close and so important to each other. The story starts out in a way that you really don't predict the ending. There's same-sex relationships in it, which is really nice to see in fantasy series. I mean, I think there's definitely more same-sex relationships in fantasy series now. These books also focus on themes of, like, all of us having kind of a dark side and a light side, coming to terms with which one you want to give more power to. Kel and Delilah are pretty much like golden retriever, black cat energy, which I'm a sucker for every time. Darker Shade of Magic series by V.E. Schwab. Please, 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 please read it. Okay, this next one, I don't want to hear it. I told you at the beginning I don't want to hear it, but I especially don't want to hear it right now. A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas.
I'm not taking any criticism on it.
So if you haven't read the ACOTAR series, A Court of Thorns and Roses, is the 5th book, I believe. It follows Nesta Archeron, Feyre's sister, and her navigating her journey through her new power that she has, and also, more importantly, journeying through her trauma and shame and guilt in her previous life. A lot of people had a lot to say about this book because
everyone's like, oh my god, this is SJM's smuttiest book.
Smut or not, I love this book for its exposition of trauma and trudging through the darkest parts of your life, just for a little sliver of hope that one day it will be better. I know that SJM has said she wrote this book like at the darkest time of her life, and I feel like when you read it, I'm just gonna keep going. Like when you read it, you can really see that. Like there are a lot of sentences or excerpts of this book, or as someone who struggles still with their trauma and depression and, like I said in the beginning, the constant void that is trying to eat away at me at all times. There are certain moments in this book where I thought to myself, yeah, you couldn't write that unless you were experiencing or have experienced that feeling. You know, Nesta doesn't know where she belongs in the court that she's in. She doesn't know where she stands in her power. She has a really hard time connecting with other people. I think my favorite aspect of this book is that she's trying to figure out a way to fight the constant darkness that plagues her all the time. I don't know if any of you have watched Fleabag. Fleabag is one of my favorite shows of all time. The moment in the show when Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who is Fleabag, saying to her friend after, you know, one of the characters passes away, she says, I have all of this love and I don't know where to put it. I don't know where to put it. And I feel like in this book, Nesta is that way with anger and resentment. She has so much of that from the things people have put on her in her past that she doesn't know where to put it. This is me, if you even care. You lash out on people that you love out of just, you don't understand it. You don't understand why you lash out. It just comes out and sometimes it's terrible and you feel horrible, but you can't stop yourself. Like, it's just, I think it did a beautiful job of demonstrating that. There's no reward without the pain. There's no shortcut to relief. There must always be a struggle before there is success. I love this book for putting that into words through such a beautiful and well-loved, fantastical world. For every Nesta out there, climb the mountain. Climb the mountain. I'm still climbing, babe. I'm still climbing. I told you, this is an emotional video. I'm emotional. I'm gonna cry. I almost just fell off the I'm sitting on the chair handle. I'm not even sitting on the chair because the chair is too low. Can I live? Okay, people. I'm about to do it again. I'm about to do it again. Call me basic, call me whatever you want. I don't care because I just want to talk. I want to yap about the things I'm passionate about. And this one, I'm so passionate about it. That's gonna have to be Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas. Many tabs in here for a rainy day, such as today actually. Just pick a random Rowan tab. And despite it all, despite the rage and despair and ice he'd wrapped around his heart, he'd still found Aelin. Every horizon he'd gazed toward, unable to willing to rest during those centuries. Every mountain and ocean he'd seen and wondered what lay beyond. It had always been her. They'd walked this dark path back to the light, and he would not let the road end here. This book is the finale to the Throne of Glass series, as I'm sure most of you may know. Even though I can't say much about the plot because it's the last book of the series, all I say is Aelin's court is going to the final battle between her and the Valg, and they're on a mission to save Terrasen and their entire world. I think this series falls in the same categories as my other favorite series, such as Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter, in the way it demonstrates the importance of friendship is so beautiful to me. Like, as I said with Addie LaRue, the innate need for us as human beings to establish connections between each other and to form such strong bonds with other people, especially like trauma bonds with other people and friends. Like, Frodo could never have done it without Sam. Harry could never have done it without Ron and Hermione. Honestly, I truly believe the best stories surround the importance of friendship, and that's what this book is to me. Also shows, and I mean, this is throughout the whole series, but the importance of how little you understand how much of an impact you have on the people around you. One thing I love so much about this series is how Aelin leaves traces of herself throughout the world that she doesn't really think twice about. They're so important to the people who witness them. Irene and Caltaine. I don't want to spoil it, but if you've read the series, you understand what I mean. She leaves traces of herself behind that inspire people to jump into action. And it's so beautiful, and it's written in such a thoughtful way. Also, the slow movement towards the slow descent into deep love and affection. I could talk about it forever. I could talk about it forever and ever and ever. Sacrifice. I'm not gonna say shit, but just like, it really touches on sacrifice. And when you love someone so, I'm literally starting to tear up. When you love someone or something so deeply, you are willing to sacrifice everything for them because you know that it's what's the best for them. Sacrifice is such a big part of this story. I can't talk about it actually anymore. Essentially, the development of the characters is also crazy, and also the development of Sarah J. Maas's writing. Watching it go from what it is in Throne of Glass, which isn't bad at all, it's amazing, but watching her kind of find her voice and for it to end in this amazing conclusion, it's such a beautiful kind of thing to watch as a reader. So that is Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas, the Throne of Glass series. And the last book that I wanted to talk about is also another series. You all know them, you all love them. The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. Right now, especially Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and I really want to talk about that. I read the Hunger Games series when I was like 13. I remember when I read that, I was thinking, this is really heavy. Like, this is intense. And
Yeah, it's actually insane and crazy.
but Suzanne Collins has this way of being able to create such impressive parallels politically and socioeconomically in such a digestible way. And I think that that is so amazing. You know, there's been some discourse around the fact that this dystopian world is actually just the same thing that's happening in our world, but just to white people. I think that that's fully true. That's fully true. As much as this is an entertaining and beautiful story to read, it also is so important to understand the abuse of power, the slow corruption of people in positions of power, which is why I want to talk especially about Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Like, what I love about Songbirds and Snakes, it all revolves around that President Snow quote, you know.
It's the things that we love most that destroy us.
And going back to the other books on this list, like Court of Silver Flames, fighting that darkness within you even when things just keep on kicking your ass. Like, there's an intersection in life where you can choose to take the road towards a sliver of hope, or you can choose to take the road which will most definitely take you down deeper into the void and darkness and anger and resentment. We all know that Snow takes that road, especially watching the movie. I mean, I've re-entered my Tom Blythe era, you guys. If you follow me on Instagram, I literally never stop posting about Tom Blythe. I love him and I need him. Anyways, Tom Blythe, a whole entire different video. That's a crush that I will have for the rest of my entire life. I saw it as kind of a Star Wars-esque story. The Anakin of it all. You know, the Anakin of it all. He falls so deeply in love with this girl. Slowly, it consumes him and manifests itself in such a terrible way, which he then cannot escape from. I love obsession tropes. Not even just with love, like movies like The Black Swan, Whiplash, like when people become so obsessed that it becomes their whole being. Like their very fiber of their being becomes this thing or this person, and they cannot literally live without them. If they can't have them, no one can have them. Or if they can't enjoy this thing, then no one can. Like, I love that whole trope. Besides the fact that Tom Blythe is drop dead gorgeous, I found myself in the book and the film wanting to believe that in the beginning his intentions are not malicious. And you know, there's a lot of people that say, oh, Snow was a shitty guy from the beginning, and like, I can't believe no one saw that. But for me, I find stories become so much more interesting when there is such a drastic change that occurs. When someone cares so deeply about something that something innate in them changes. And as an actor too, my acting coach in Toronto would always tell us, always make the more interesting decision. I think that he and Lucy Gray were both such products of their environment, and the commentary on love being kind of a parallel to hate in many ways. How Lucy Gray embodied everything that Snow was taught to hate, and Snow embodies everything that Lucy Gray was taught to hate. Yet they still were drawn to each other, and whether that be a love out of circumstance, I don't know, but I like to believe that as much as circumstance was a factor, I also, because I'm just a hopeless romantic, see circumstance as fate as well. And I think that watching them fall in love and watching Lucy Gray start to become a bit more aware of the changes that Coriolanus starts going through, like, he does do a terrible thing, you know, like with Sejanus and that whole thing. I truly think that he does it with Lucy Gray in mind. He wants to be able to have her. At that point in the story, he is obsessed with her, and he's obsessed with the idea of them being together. Though I think that she also becomes obsessed with the idea of, you know, changing him to her life as much as he wants to change her to his life. And so I just love that area. I love that commentary. I love that. When it's up for interpretation, I love it all the more. And then watching or reading the Hunger Games series after the fact, you understand why Snow really hates Katniss so much, because she is the second coming of Lucy Gray, essentially. She stands for change. She's freedom embodied. She is inspiring. She's beautiful, brave, and that terrifies him. I get it. Fearful avoidant king. I am a fearful avoidant, I've recently just discovered. Whether the love between them was a love of circumstance or a true love, I just love the mystery of it all. And I wanted to share my thoughts and just yap to you all today, my friends. I love all of you so much. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for listening to me yap. I really hope that you give all of these a read if you haven't already. I truly, truly believe that when you can find the deeper meaning within these books, you can get a lot from it. Free therapy. For me, I was like, oh wow, maybe I'm not the only one who is constantly fighting the void. And I'm not. I love you guys. Thank you so much for all the love that you've been giving me lately. So heartwarming. Like, I'm so grateful for every one of you who subscribed and watched my videos and liked my videos and comment. Like, all of you are so sweet, and I'm so, so happy to be part of this community. Like, honestly, I'm so thankful. A fan has no chill. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. This was a more deep, yappy video, but I try to balance those between my funny videos. So stick around for more content like this and funny content as well. I love you guys so much. I hope you have a fabulous week and a fabulous day and a fabulous life. And I cannot wait to talk to you next week. Okay, I'll see you later. Bye.